Success is 1% dreaming and 99% doing. You build your future. It's not handed to you.
Audience, say it with me. It's gonna be legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant because the second half of that word is dairy. That's what she said.
A, I rarely kid, and B, when I do kid, you will know it by my use of the word bazinga.
Welcome to Level the Planet podcast. Join us for fun conversations, stories, and insights on navigating today's world. Each episode, we'll dive into the exciting world around us, from sports, music, bourbon, beer, cigars, grilling, cars, trucks, hunting, general nonsense, and much more. Level the Planet podcast is your go-to for engaging discussions. So tune in each week with Chris, John, and some of their friends, and let's level the planet together.
What's it say?
Well, it says, I love it when a plan comes together.
Welcome, everyone, to Level the Planet podcast. I am Chris Kaiser, and today, as always, and hopefully for a long time to come, I'm joined by the one, the only, none other than 35,000 hours in front of a camera himself. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, John Creemans.
Voila, I am here. I have made it. We are now live in the studio today.
How you been, man?
Good, man. Everything's good. Survived 4th of July. Had some great meets, and I'm sure you'll have some great ideas on what people should be doing or what they should have done to make their 4th of July better.
Well, I'll tell you first and foremost, I have all of my digits still. It was a successful 4th of July for us, nonetheless. Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Yeah.
No crisp fillets this year, but
or that'd be niblets or soming.
True. Did y'all get into anything fun?
As I've gotten older, 4th of July, I still love the fireworks, and I love, the displays and stuff. But sometimes it's just, one of those times when you just want to sit back and relax after a while. I used to do all the big fireworks displays. I spent $3,000 to $5,000 a year on fireworks. My neighbor would do the same thing, and then the guy across the lake did. And by the time it was all done, we had a display that would go on for about 3 hours, probably bigger than any city fireworks display, and was, absolutely a riot. But after doing that for so many years, now I am as old as I am, it's time for the youngins to experience all the excitement and the near explosions of having it in their own backyard.
Absolutely. We were right in the midst of it with some friends of ours, actually. We're hanging out with a bunch of folks that have kids similar age to ours. He's a year and a half, so it was really his first time getting to enjoy truly what fireworks are all about. Last year he was out by 7 p.m. It was still bright, daylight outside, no fireworks for him. But this year, I had him on my shoulders, and we had the kids' fireworks out in the backyard first before the adults got to play. But he's on my shoulders, and you hear the little pop, 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 and the colors coming out, and you just hear him, wow. To every one of them. It was fantastic, man. It made me smile for sure.
So we used to have, I would literally have the entire neighborhood. It just wouldn't be just a couple people. It would be my neighbors. It would be people down the street. We'd probably have about 20, 30 people in the backyard. And then it just kind of spilled over into the other yards. And it was quite the time. I almost got hit by a mortar that went off and went right through. I had built a launch pad, right? So I'm like Mr. Space. So I figured, okay, look, if I can keep this where I can light it from below and not have to deal with it coming back and hitting me, I'd be okay. So out by the lake, I built this platform, and I built a little shed. It looked almost like a shed. And one of them decided to fall off the pad, start rolling toward the lake, and as it did, it shot right back through the plywood. It put a monstrous hole.
Where's the video of this?
So I've got some that you can hear the audio of it. It was bad, man. I thought for sure it blew everything. Just pieces were flying everywhere. But what we would do is we would shoot the big 3-inch mortars.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do what they call cakes, and some of these cakes would have 20, 30, 40 shots, and they're big shots.
Yeah.
So when we light off one, you've got a display that looks like something out of a city. And the more you have, I mean, I had I had an entire room that was filled with fireworks. And then I would lay them all out on boards. I would glue them onto the board so they wouldn't fall off.
Yep.
Evidently, I missed one on that one. But then, then I could go down the row. I could decide on how I wanted to shoot it off. And then while I'm doing mine, my neighbor's doing his from the corner of the lake. And then the guy right across the lake from us was doing it too. So all you saw in the sky, we called it fire in the sky, the end of the world. And basically it looked like it by the time it was all over. I've never seen that kind of fireworks. So many of them going off so close to where I'm actually being. But it was fun. Oh my gosh, I used to love doing that. We did that for many years. I got to the point where how you go to those guys that sell fireworks on the side of the road.
Yeah, they're everywhere where we live. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can get like buy one get one free, that kind of stuff on some
Buy
of the
one,
small
get
stuff.
5 free. Yeah.
So that's what I was up. I worked my way up to buy one get 4 free, and basically that was direct from the the manufacturer of the fireworks. And just the amount of fireworks we shot off was unbelievable. I mean, you could have blown up a city with it. I mean, it was that.
I mean, when you buy that many fireworks, I mean, you're basically paying the summer home mortgage for these guys. So
Exactly.
my question, prerequisite that a few years ago, I went up to see the family up in Georgia in the U.S. And, for everyone joining us, John and I are both in the greater Tampa Bay area in Florida in the United States. So from time to time, you're going to hear us talk a lot about the local and the regional stuff that's going on. But anyway, we're back up there at the family compound, if you will, at my brother's place. It's, I think, 10 or so acres. But we kind of did the same thing. We just went out and spent a couple of $1,000s on fireworks, and it was only recently legalized in Georgia, as you had to drive to either South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, or Alabama to get your fireworks. And oddly enough, when you take an interstate out of the state of Georgia, you will get no less than 3 fireworks shops within 3 miles of each state's border. So there were, needless to say, a lot of nights bootlegging fireworks back into Georgia as I was a kid. So,
I can imagine that.
But yeah, we did this thing, where we would get like my brother, myself, and whatnot. We'd go spend all that money. We would take them down to the end of the property, have everybody up at the house, and it was quite the spectacle. It'd go on for an hour. And like you said, it's oftentimes you think you can rival some of these big city displays and shows that they do. So my question, how is it around a lake when you have everybody around the lake participating? I could only imagine your yard guy coming back the next day or two, cutting grass.
Yes, some of that pretty much fell into the lake.
I'm sorry,
only
fish.
The stuff that would go over top. And the only bad thing about fireworks, and most people don't realize it, that when those little embers are coming down, if you have a screened porch or a screened patio and it's over your pool, those little things will burn through the plastic that is the screen. So we had one guy, and it wasn't us. It was down the way, had been shooting them off, and his neighbor was like just incredibly upset because he had holes, like 15 or 20 holes. They kind of expanded as they went through. Oh yeah, I mean, big. That was a big mess. But then we also had everybody would clean too. We'd literally the next morning, everybody get up. We'd have breakfast. We'd all be out there in our PJs and stuff. And then we would take the rakes and stuff, and we would rake all of my neighbors' yards in the back and kind of clean everything up, pick everything up. And we kind of did that every year. And that was kind of granted after drinking all night, Coke and pop and stuff like that. Wait, you don't believe me? No, but I mean, and you just in the fog of the war, you literally are have a mess. You were mentioning about those fireworks stands outside of Georgia.
Oh,
There was that one that was if you went up into Tennessee and going toward Chattanooga, and I remember the road kind of split off, but in the middle of the night, in the fog and everything, when you're getting ready to go up in there. There's one fireworks place that has the word fireworks, and that's all you see. It's for the length of the building. And even with the fog and everything else, you see this red glow. You get closer, all of a sudden it's like whoosh. I mean, no matter where you looked, you saw the word fireworks. It's that big. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Finest,
I saw that every time I left Florida. Georgia.
I believe it. No, marketing at its finest, but
yeah. Can you imagine if somebody went in there one day and just kind of flicked a cigarette or something? What a nightmare that would be.
You see fireworks signs everywhere. And the next 2 words you see the most after fireworks around the whole place is no and smoking.
Well, that's just like gas stations. Don't smoke near the gas pump. But what do you see? People are at the time.
That guy that's out there, he's having a cigarette while his car is pumping up. He walks over to the guy that's, refilling the actual fuel tanks with his tanker. He's like, "Hey, man, what you doing over here?"
Then flicks his bic and starts lighting something.
Man, I'm like, "You can't," but apparently, I guess they can blow themselves up.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And then you have to run to try to hit the gas pump turn off. That's on the side of the building. So I was sitting out there one day with a bunch of my friends who like to ride motorcycles, and I was leaning up against the building. Wasn't thinking anything of it. Just leaning back, and all of a sudden, the guy comes out. He goes, "Hey, what's going on? You guys turn the pump on?" I go, "What do you mean?" And I got up like this. He goes, "You leaned back on it."
Oh,
and all these people pissed off because they couldn't fill their cars.
For like 10 minutes, or I don't know. There's some crazy.
Yeah, it took a little while for everything to restart everything. I was like, "Oh no,
whoops, sorry guys."
Oh,
nowadays though, the people, I say the people, I'm right there at that Gen X millennial cross point, just depending on who you ask and the actual year.
Yeah.
But nowadays you got millennials and Gen Zs that are driving. I bet you they have no clue that there even is an auto off. I mean, hell, they're going to pull out their phone, just start recording.
Yeah, hey, look, my car's on fire.
Oh, I'm gonna go viral. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's about the time it all explodes and everything goes out everywhere, and then they're shocked that their car is destroyed.
Yeah, it's like, well,
everybody does that nowadays. I mean, everybody brings their phone out. I mean, somebody could be dying along the side of the road, and there's 5 or 6 cameras out there, like their phones out there pointing, and they're talking about it. Just just last weekend, 4 shark attacks in Padre Isle, down by Starbase. Really? Down with where SpaceX is, and so there must have been, I read about it, so I figured, well, I'll look it up. I'm on X, and I'm looking at everything, going, okay, let me look and see what this is about. And sure enough, man, there's video everywhere. So the main person that got attacked, this one woman, literally, they got so close to her that you could see the whole chunk of her leg gone.
Uh-huh.
So she's sitting there and she's screaming, and they're putting a belt around the top of her leg, and you can see her calf is gone.
Yeah,
like it bit her calf, and just one big huge crescent. It wasn't like a little shark. No, those are big sharks, and they were. What was amazed me is that people were standing in the water, and sharks are going between them and the beach.
Yeah,
where do you go at that point? I mean,
you go for their eyes. Unfortunately, it luck of the draw that you don't get a bite taken out of you. But I mean, let's see, SpaceX. That's East Coast.
Yeah, that's right where where that hurricane barrel might be going.
Yeah, and it's funny because the sharks could have been pushed up into that way, just if you want to get science on it, but it's most likely a tiger shark, possibly a bull shark. They're both aggressive, they're both small enough but big enough to where they would take a calf out. I mean, that's
like one whole chunk, dude. It was bad. Somebody then they blew it up so you could see it even closer. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. But everybody had a camera out. Everybody had their phones out, and they're look, and you hear the kids screaming, "There's a shark!" And it's like,
it's crazy.
Well, people are being eaten. I mean, they were making their own jaws right there on the southeast corner of Texas.
Oh, speaking of sharks, here in the United States, or really anywhere you can get the Discovery Channel. Next week, Shark Week, I believe. Start of Shark Week. So
that would be very good. I actually, there was a guy on TikTok, and I was gonna Toony something, and he's a guy that literally was trying to get Discovery Channel to add him in because he's been shooting with video and audio and everything, how they go out and collect and catch sharks. So they show where he literally got kicked out of an Airbnb because he was at a channel. They put out this huge fish on a line and ran the line up into the Airbnb, had the rod hooked up to a thing that was on a chair, and then all went to bed. And all of a sudden the alarm started going off because the shark was there. So they grabbed it. They had 3 guys trying to pull it, and this shark is trying to pull them out over the patio. And they show this whole thing happening, right? And all he does is he catches these sharks, and then he puts them back in the water. Like one time he actually built a chair, like some kind of unit on top of his Jeep, and his girlfriend was driving the Jeep. When the shark caught a hold of it, she takes off the other way up the beach, and this is in Daytona Beach.
Of course,
so, you can drive on the beaches there. Yeah. So she's driving away from the water, and they drag the shark out of the water.
Wow,
onto the beach. So you got this big. It was like 14-foot shark, like going back and forth and everything. Then of course they got busted because then they got banned from driving on the beach because of that. But it's like, I mean, if he didn't have the power of of a Jeep, that thing was going to pull him back in. I mean, when those sharks, when they take up on bait, those things go out, and he had 3 or 4 guys holding him, trying to keep him in. That's why he built the chair, so they wouldn't, so he could be strapped in.
I believe
but it was wild, man. And I love the Shark Week stuff anyway, but it's kind of interesting how this guy created some really interesting content.
Mm-hmm.
He caught like 5 different sharks at 5 different times, different ways. And I mean, I would have watched it, and I did watch it, for heaven's sakes. I watched it on TikTok, but it could have been on Discovery easy. I mean, literally, it could have been, and it was a show. I mean, he had everything produced. He had it edited. It looked good. He had different angles. Yeah, it was.
I mean, nowadays he's probably going to make more money on TikTok than trying to pitch it to Discovery.
I mean, his videos had a couple million hits. They're all pretty decent. I mean, that's not too bad on TikTok.
Have you ever had shark to eat?
To eat? No, I haven't. But I've been in places that do serve it though.
I mean, it's interesting, call it the chicken of the sea, I guess, but you overcook it, it's definitely a tough meat. So,
well, I mean, wouldn't it be all, I would think it'd be a lot of muscle, wouldn't it? Or no?
It's muscle, man. There's not a lot of fat in a shark. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like your angle on it. Anything you catch or anything you are around could be food at one point.
I've got a pond out in my backyard, and we start running low on food. I can say for certain we've got 2 alligators back here that will not last long. I promise.
Yeah, it's like somebody hit an armadillo. Look, it comes in its own bowl.
So do turtles.
Man.
Folks, I love turtles. I'll spot my heart for turtles.
What kind of seasoning do you use?
I mean, come on, if it's between me or the turtle, and I'm hungry.
Yes, inquiring mind wants to know, what seasoning do you put on turtle?
Salt, pepper.
Basics. I mean, it's already an exotic meat. What else could you add?
That's true.
Oh my gosh, that would not be good. Some of those leatherback turtles that are down here, snappers. Oh, no way. They look like manhole covers.
Yeah. No telling what they eat too.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, those things, as soon as they grasp onto something, they do not let go.
That's the truth. And I'll tell you, if you live around areas that have turtles, you really need to do your homework. It's not hard, but you need to learn the differences between like a box turtle and a snapping turtle.
Yeah.
It's one of them will it's like a cat. If a cat was big enough, it would destroy you.
Yeah, it would eat you.
I feel the same about.
Yeah, no, those and their necks go around almost to half of their shell. So they can actually grab a hold. And actually, that is a story. Some of the old guys that I hang out with on Saturday mornings and smoke cigars, the Brothers of the Leaf. There's one guy that said, so they had seen this big, huge turtle going across the road, and they watched as some woman stopped her car, got out, and was like, "Is there a turtle? We got to get him out of the road." So she grabs the shell.
Mm-hmm.
Not thinking that the snapping turtle has a neck that can go all the way around the edge. The guy said it was at least maybe 2.5, 3 feet wide, right? See those big ones. So she's got it. It bites her hand and won't let go. And he was like, I want to help you, but I don't want to get my hands near that. It finally let it go, but I mean, oh my goodness! He said there was a huge chunk out of her hand.
Man, I've been bit by a snapping turtle. It just, I don't know, it brings back memories. But have you? I know you've. I'm sure you've been to Busch Gardens here in Tampa.
Absolutely.
Have you seen the turtle exhibit they have there?
Like the old tortoises, the big tortoises, the monster ones.
Those big boys.
Yeah, I mean those are heck, those are even up north of Tampa. There's a place called Starkey Ranch, and I've seen them out there. They actually just kind of forage around. They're going real slow. They don't care. They've been around for hundreds of years. Some of those turtles get really old.
I'm looking to see right now
Well, there was an exhibit of some that I saw in
Here
was
we
it
go.
Houston at the no, not Houston, the zoo in shoot, I can't remember the name of the city, but they had some of those big turtles, the ones that have been around forever, and there was 3 of them, right, and one was kind of in this like little water pond, but he shouldn't be because they don't have really water turtles.
Right.
And then they had 2 others, and the other 2 were moving around, and this one had its head kind of dipped in the water. And I'm thinking, no, it's a dead turtle. I mean, we sat there, I don't know, 30 minutes going, it's not moving. It's dead. I mean, we got to tell somebody.
He's asleep.
And then, no, literally, but just when we were getting ready to go to find somebody, all of a sudden I see an eye move. I'm thinking, my God, we all thought he was dead. Because, his face is down kind of halfway in the water because they don't do that. So it looked like he may have gotten trapped in the little gully they made for him.
The Aldabra tortoise, I believe. I apologize if I'm butchering that, but I tell you, it was funny. So they have one that's the size of, I don't even know how
A
to.
Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah, no, seriously, both of them are. They have a male and a female there, and it took. But when we were there, it took about 2 minutes for the male to get over to the female, and it was no more than 30 feet. But you see his tracks in the sand as he's going. And I look away for a second, and all of a sudden I hear a clunk. What in the world, man? I looked over. He's mounted the female tortoise, right? So all of a sudden,
Nice.
you see his head come out of the shell, and that's what reminded me. You were talking about the box turtle. I mean, the snapping turtle being able to reach like halfway around his shell.
Yeah.
Never in my life have I seen the neck of a tortoise that long. But he's up on top, and I'm like, "What is?" Yeah, and all of a sudden you hear him. Oh, couldn't help it, man. There's these 2 older ladies there, like, look at this turtle, blah 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 blah.
Man.
This is going on for minutes, and then all of a sudden, somebody leans over to the 2 older ladies and is like, "By the way, this is what's going on." And you hear them from 50 feet away. My goodness! Oh no, I can't be watching this. Oh,
Well, there we go.
it was so funny, man. It's like I've never seen. Look, my mouse pad was not as red as their faces. It was.
And meanwhile, inside your head, it's wow, 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 wow.
I'm looking at my son like, this is how it's done.
Oh, look, they're playing. They're playing. He's tackling her.
That's right. I'm like, look, Daddy is just playing with Mommy. They're playing.
Yes, exactly. At that point, how do you know? How do you know it was a daddy and a mommy? Can you tell on a turtle?
Yes.
How do you tell on a turtle? What is it? Something they have
Listen,
or don't have?
next time we go to Busch Gardens, come with me.
No,
We'll go to the
I'm
Tortoise
gonna be
Expo.
traumatized.
Pay the $19.99 to get the tour with the actual the inside tour they call it. And
Wow.
no, it's put it this way, he should be proud.
Yeah.
He should be
Wow.
proud. And
Yeah,
he gets
that's
an
okay.
attaboy.
Yeah.
He gets an attaboy for sure.
No, that's
But
just
no, it's
that's a little too much of nature.
no, it did get caught a few folks off guard, but it was nonetheless, here, learning experience. You're
Yeah.
not going to get this in any textbook. So
But those are zoos. That's a zoo.
That's
You expect to see something unusual and different.
hey, this is their habitat. We're just the guests.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
You
They don't
know,
want to be in theirs. Holy cow! Have you
Actually, I
ever seen
don't
what
think
have you ever
these
seen what a
monkeys-
rhinoceros does after it's eaten? My goodness gracious!
yeah, watch Jurassic Park or Ace Ventura
Well, yeah.
when nature calls.
There you go. That's it. One pile
Great.
of dung.
That's
Yeah.
it.
That'd be
Oh,
bad.
So I tell you, getting ready for the 4th of July, the fireworks, the meat, the yard work, and it all goes into it. Did y'all do anything? Did you host any parties? Did you go to any?
Yeah, heck yeah! When we had our fire in the sky extravaganzas every year, basically we put out, because here in the Florida area, it rains, and it will rain. You can bet on it. On the 4th of July, it will always rain about 2 o'clock, last till about 4 or 5, and then everything is fine after that. So right when it normally rains, right? So we would
Just
set
like
out
that, huh?
tents. So we'd put out probably 10 tents. There'd be 5 straight across, and then there would be 2 that would go back on either side, and then 1 that would be off where the kids could go off to the side. So there was, at least you could be under something, right? And then we had our tables and everything else, and the grill was right there. And then, of course, the kegs of beer was, 2 kegs of beer were sitting there, and that's the way we did it every year. I mean, it was that was our stuff. And then everybody brought food. We had hamburgers, hot dogs. I mean, and then, of course, everybody had all the salads and all the other stuff that we could go with it, and all of the candies and cookies and brownies and anything else you could possibly snack on or eat. So we never went away hungry. We always had way too much food.
That's a good problem to have, especially on the 4th. I mean, we did the same. And we're starting new traditions, as I've entered fatherhood.
You're gonna do that.
Yeah, and that's something that, look, growing up, I was firstborn of 3 siblings. My parents had 3 under 30, but it was a different time then. So did all of their friends. It was, and I'm kind of seeing this too. All the friends we're with either have 1 or 2. They're all similar in age, where we're a little older. I mean, I'm 1 almost under 40, so it's quite the experience. But nonetheless, I had so many awesome flashbacks of me and my family, and especially my father. Back when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, going to these fireworks shows and being on his shoulders. Last night I had my son on my shoulders. Man, it was awesome.
Yeah, heck yeah. We used to do that when my parents, we'd go to the city, the little town outside of the Twin Cities we used to live in. Yeah. And it would all be at the park. You drive all the way down there, try to find a place to park. And this park was alongside a lake and a river, kind of a river lake. And then basically they used to shoot fireworks there. The local fire department guys or the guys running the whole deal. And we always thought that was cool. But now, you can buy pretty much anything that they were using now as just a civilian. And here in the state of Florida, if you're trying to scare off, blackbirds or crows or anything, you're out there shooting. I mean, fire in the sky, dude, is what I'm.
Love it. Yeah, no, it's a great place to be and a great time to be alive for sure.
Yeah, no, and because of that, okay, so we had kids out, like you would, have all the families and everything. And so in the rain, we're all sitting out there, and kind of boring. It's it's middle of the afternoon, it's raining. We're all kind of underneath the tents, and we're all talking. And then I hear this kid go, "Oh, there's an alligator!" And I look, and down there, sure enough, man, there's an alligator kind of going across. And I'm going, "There's this bird. There's like this large bird was in the water." Next thing you knew, that alligator went chomp, and so I got my phone out. And you see this thing thrashing this bird back and forth and back. And the kids are like, "Oh my gosh, it's eating that bird." And there's blood going everywhere. And of course, I have video of it. And it's part of my Man's Day 4th of July extravaganza video that I made.
That's awesome.
It was better than paid entertainment because it was just right up there as free.
There's nothing wrong with that. And
then the annoying kid that's always annoying, you kind of look and go, he looks big enough.
One year, man, it was probably in my early 20s, young, wild, and free, still hanging out with my high school and after high school friends, and just, fun, careless bonfires, kegs, growing up in the country like I did. But we would have Roman candle battles, so as many Roman candles as you could have on your person, and I'm talking, I'm pulling them out of teeths like arrows, just lighting them up, going. And it's, I had one that I had shot into one of my best friends, Sean, shot it right into his belly button, and it got stuck there, man. Burned a hole in his shirt.
My goodness.
2nd, 3rd degree burns all in right there in his stomach. Man, yeah, no, just, man, I tell you, good times though. Do y'all have any food that y'all do yearly? Any type of traditions or anything?
No, smoke? I mean, outside of the regular, beer and brats and burgers. I mean, the brats always, there was always a specialty to that. Take that and you put them in these big pans, and you boil them up in beer, just completely just beer, and onions. You chop up just big chunks of onion, put it all inside there, put your beer in there, and no water. Just let them just soak in that beer and bubble and and cook that way so they get gray, so they're cooked. And then basically you're just putting it on the grill just to get the char flavor, get it to get them darker. Not like some people are like, it's done. We put it on the grill for a little bit, and there's just a little brown to it. I'm saying no. This is a brat. If you're in Wisconsin or Minnesota, you're literally gonna do it. You're doing the whole thing. I mean, it's gonna be a briquette by the time it's done. But it's so good because that the inside are so flavorful from the beer and the onion and just all that. And then of course you got to put the kraut on there and everything. And I could sit there and I would eat like 5 or 6 of those in a sitting. I love brats. I don't know what it was about them. Just depending on who made them, but when they were made the perfect way, you just couldn't stop. Like potato chips.
Yeah, one bag, you just can't stop.
Yeah, you can't stop. There's just no way.
We did the hot dogs and the hamburgers. One of the buddies, one of the guys that were with us, bless his heart, he brought out just some meat he had in the freezer. It was an eye of round, and I'm like, awesome. Are we making beef jerky? He's like, no, man, we're doing high heat sear on this bad boy. Serve it around 130. I'm like, boy, but okay. But nonetheless, very thinly sliced with a lot of sauce, and
was it good?
It's edible. Good flavor around the crust. All the seasoning and whatnot. But usually hamburgers, hot dogs for the 4th, and I'll tell you, as I see more,
right? You don't need to go all out and do steaks.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, look, cold beer, hamburgers, hot dogs, the fixings for it, some dessert, you're good. You've got people, you've got kids. There can be other days like Father's Day.
Cornhole, just kind of sitting back, the guys and gals.
Playing in the water, had a little inflatable, some water games, all that stuff. All types of stuff to do. Yeah, the food is not necessarily the focus, of that, like Christmas or Thanksgiving or one of these other holidays where you would do like a prime rib or a turkey. Hamburgers, hot dogs, man, that's the ultimate 4th of July.
Good. That sounds so good.
But man,
I love that. And then just anything else you put along with it. Potato salad, got to have potato salad.
Very true.
Yeah. And I'm the kind of the one that has a little mustard in it. It has more yellow potato salad, kind of the southern potato salad. A little bit of pickle in it, and my goodness, my mom used to make it really good, and then Kelly perfected it, and now I can eat a whole bowl.
Yeah, we'll do like a broccoli salad. We'll do baked beans.
Broccoli salad.
It's actually really good.
Broccoli salad.
Hey, the only thing good in it's broccoli, and you don't taste the broccoli. So
you think that like in the first 4th of July after they signed the Declaration of Independence, you think they had broccoli salad? Hey, Thomas, did you bring some of that broccoli salad your slaves make? I mean, no, we've not had it. We've not had that yet. Ben Franklin, my goodness, come on in here. You got to taste it. You got to take Jefferson's broccoli salad. It's like the best thing in the world, man. No, they didn't have broccoli salad.
Look, the trick is you got to get the fiber in before all the meat. Right? That will aid for days to come. That's really the trick to it. See,
you might as well eat coated cauliflower or something.
That's pretty much it. It's just green. Put a lot of mayonnaise and you're gonna put in it, man.
Wow,
I've seen all types of stuff in it. Cheese,
I can't fill myself up. Like the brats are the main star.
No, brats are that's what I would be, and just give me the meat, the cheese, bacon if you got it.
Hey, so when you make burgers, okay, so are you on the same plane as I am, that you want no moo?
Well, it depends
on a burger.
Right?
On a burger,
if it's my meat that I ground up, so I know that it's safe to have it under 160.
Yeah.
Then I may do like a burger medium. Do a nice thick patty. Medium.
Really?
Maybe touch to the medium well. But if I'm going out, I'm doing it somewhere else. Like I fully expect it to be cooked, just because I've been sick enough times from eating. I just don't want to deal with it again.
Yeah, but my thing is the sight of it. So here you go. It looks so good. There's the cheese is melting off the sides. There's crisp bacon, and oh my goodness, they couldn't have packed any more meat inside that bun. And you go to get ready to take a bite, you squeeze just a little bit, and then by that time, the blood starts squirting out of the inside of the burger. And then your bun's got bloody, soggy mess. And then you're looking at your plate. You're going, and it's
Well,
over. At that moment, I mean, that big, beautiful burger with all the accoutrement and all the wonderful the things that are inside it, you just went, no way, sorry. You just literally took a beeline and said, okay, give me a couple more brats. I'll do that instead.
Like, two things to that. So one, it's not blood.
Buns is what you're.
Two, if you do it right, always toast your buns. Always, because you're going to get liquid from the burger. You're
Yeah.
going to get, mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, barbecue sauce, Chick-fil-A sauce, whatever you decide.
I'm
to
okay
put
with
on
that, though. It's just the natural sauce, the blood.
Toast the buns. You'll be all right.
I don't want the au jus.
Yeah, if you want the au jus, I'll take it as a dip, not
Yes,
as
no. That's why I always tell them we have burgers, man. I want no moo. If that thing's still mooing, it's not going to go on a bun.
no mooing the cow.
Nope.
Huh?
But see, then why is it that you and I would go, we do that, but then on a steak, it had to be a medium rare. It has to be where you've got a little bit of that the red inside. You want it like that, right? Because that's the flavor. That's so you have a steak. But when it comes to burgers, they can say, "Oh, it's ground steak." No, it's really not.
Well,
I worked in the grocery store as a kid. I watched them make hamburger meat.
Oh,
man.
Yep.
Just every little piece that you could possibly put in it, they put in it.
Oh, absolutely. Look, waste not, want not, especially when you're paying all the money for every bit of what you have there.
Yeah.
They're going to use every bit of it. It's like making chicken nuggets, anything else. You're going to use the scraps. Hot dogs.
Very true.
Don't even ask.
It's an awful mess.
It is. But no, if you're going to do a steak, you do it right because, oxygen does not penetrate the muscle. That's why those thick steaks, you can do that. I mean, as long as the meat has been inspected, and you hope it's been inspected properly, which in 99% of the cases it is.
Yeah.
But that's a whole another story for another day on how I could go into a lot of conspiracy theory and the way that USDA is actually ran and all the backdoor deals and
wow.
I pay you for this and you get this. But anywho.
Nope. I'm not going to trust anybody else to cook my burger.
You can get away with doing under 165 on any of those steaks because that meat has not been introduced to oxygen, and what has is what's been cut, but that's going to hit the pan and sear off anyway. So you're good to go.
It's all I know. Every time I hear you, you sound like a scientist of meat. You're a meat scientist.
I love cooking. I love beef. I love meats in general. And as everyone will come to know, we'll have plenty of conversations about it. And look, hit me up in the comments if there's anything you want to know or talk about as far as meats, because we'll do it.
Yeah, we could be a topic of another show.
That's right.
So okay, so we make our own food, right? You and I, we like to cook. Our families do. My wife does. I mean, we like to do stuff like that. But every once in a while, if you go out, there are a couple breweries around the Tampa Bay area that don't have food. They don't have a restaurant like our friends at the Tampa Bay Brewing Company. We know them. They're good people. Yeah. They have a restaurant that is fantastic. But there are some that don't. So they put these food trucks out there.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you trust that the food truck you're eating from is going to be good? I mean, it might look good on the outside when you look at the pictures, but do you always get what they advertise?
Sorry about that.
Well, like what in the world? No, it's like, what do you do? I mean, I had a brisket grilled cheese. And this darn thing had so much brisket and barbecued brisket on the inside and so much cheese. And it was, the darn thing had to be at least 4 inches deep.
It was called a Heartstopper?
No, it was something. It was huge and good. My gosh. I would have never thought, something out of a food truck or like, a van would have had that kind of flavor. And it was unbelievable.
Food trucks are great. And it gives, your one-off chefs or your startups or whatever the case may be, it gives opportunity, for really cool food options, eating new stuff you would never really see anywhere else. I mean, where we live right now, once a month, our community has a food truck thing. So the first Friday of every month, you'll get anywhere from 4 to 10 food trucks in this area at the clubhouse and whatnot. And then all the families come around and do the food truck thing for a couple of hours. And it's a lot of fun. You get some really, really neat plates of stuff, desserts, all types of awesome
One
food
guy
trucks.
has like a lobster roll that he makes.
Well, yeah,
The lobster's really
rolls,
good. I actually had one. It was
lobster
fantastic.
rolls. They've got a food truck for everything.
And
But,
like, and tacos, so the easy stuff, tacos, burritos, that kind of stuff that they make. I mean, there are always a couple good trucks like that. I think I'm trying to remember what the most unusual food truck that I've ever seen now.
yeah, that's a tough one. There are so many that I don't know. They all seem, if you call it a food truck, it's like it's not taboo if it comes from a food truck.
Yeah,
even
no, it's actually pretty good. The Lightning used to have, and I don't know if they still do it out in front of the Amalie Arena, but what they'll do is they'll have food trucks out there when they're playing some of the games off the parking lot. They have that big screen that's the edge of the parking lot. And so there people that aren't inside the stadium can be outside. Usually it happens when they're in the playoffs and stuff. But yeah, they would have a few food trucks, and oh my goodness,
I don't know if they're doing that much anymore. With the addition of Sparkman's Wharf, with all of the different permanent style food trucks, the containers they're doing, on top of having the new, I forget which brewery it is, but they do have a setup now right next to where everybody is at that big screen. So I don't know if they're doing the food trucks much
down
anymore.
below. Yeah, they kind of what was the name of that restaurant? It's a restaurant.
I can't remember.
I can't remember it either, but it's one that's been around Tampa Bay for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been there. I like that. I like that too. But they had always have a couple of food trucks off to the left hand side before you went back down and toward the water and down toward that area. But man, it was I love doing that. I can eat on a food truck and not worry too much.
Absolutely.
I get too wild. I mean, I've seen some that. There was one they had over here over by our house that they had a food truck event, and the food trucks were coming in and out. And I can't remember what I had, but it was something that I would never have eaten on a food truck.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And I think it was something with seafood, but I can't remember exactly what it was. No, I know what it was. It wasn't seafood. It was gyros. I kind of like to go to a Greek restaurant if I'm going to have a gyro. I mean, I know they're going to be able to take it off that big, huge spit that they are, that big rotisserie meat thing they've got, and they just kind of shave it off.
Things are so cool.
I love a good gyro. And when you take you get a good tzatziki and have the onions and everything. So good.
Well, on that note, I think we will call it, man.
I'm gonna go eat dinner.
I know. I'm getting so hungry just talking about it myself. So that'll do it for this episode of Level the Planet. Once again, I'm Chris Kaiser with my co-host, Mr. John Creemans.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And until the next one, take care. We'll see you then.